Portal's gold, and I'm getting old. Or, wait a second, that's not the best thing to say. Hello, everyone. Bront CatHerder here. We're having some fun talking Raid Shadow Legends, and we are here to pull some shards because we have this wonderful event right here. Well, we have the Yuletide event here, so you can get some Santa, and the Lady Noel fusion appears to be starting later this week or next week at some point. So we have some information on her. There's a couple videos out there. I'll see maybe if I can put together a video myself. Overall, she looks like she works interestingly well with Sir Nick, so if you are not sure if you're going for the Yuletide fusion, I would recommend seeing if you can get yourself a Sir Nick. At the very least, you'll get some cool stuff along the way, and honestly, just do stuff to advance your account. But that said, we have the path to power here. I need to pull approximately 8 shards to get this 4-star He-Man soul, and I think 4 stars is kind of where it's at. 5 stars, he doesn't need the resistance and accuracy, and that's fine. He doesn't need the extra boosts from some of the other stuff as well. It's helpful, but it's not worth an additional 7 shards just to get to that path. So we are going to just be pulling those 8 shards. So I've got 10 sacreds here. We'll be pulling 8 of them. And we are going to pull, because I am actually 20 into my Mercy, and I would really, really, really like a Teox. Now, to be fair, I'm actually slightly tempted to pull for a duplicate Harima as well, but I decided that Teox is so rare that you can only get him from these things that he's the one to pull. And in fact, the reason I decided to go for Teox over Volcanos is I was debating which one would be more useful. I think they're both kind of interesting, and I ended up putting up a poll on YouTube, and for the most part, Teox ran away with the poll, except for anyone that actually posted anything. They said that they usually would rather prefer Volcanos, but most of them said because they already have a Teox. So we're going for Teox. Teox the Lizard looks really cool. We're not going to really go over his kit too much, but we are going to pull 8 shards. That will leave me with 2 sacred shards left towards the next fusion. I've got a bunch of other shards here as well. I've got the Remnant Summon that I just got from defeating Amius. So I've got some things for some of the champion chases coming up as well. So I'm looking forward to another fusion. I've got plenty of resources, which means I'm in a good position to be able to pull shards for this He-Man soul. So I have my Pepsi in hand right here. They are not a sponsor. They still have not seen fit to sponsor me. I don't know what's going on. If you have watched any of my previous few shard videos, you know that my luck on my main has been absolutely atrocious. I have gotten almost nothing of use of late. It has been very, very frustrating. So I am looking forward to hopefully getting a Teox, or if not a Teox, at least a couple of legendaries out of this. Because, again, you never know with Sacreds, but right now, with 20 into Mercy, I've got a pretty good chance. It is going to be very hard for me not to pull a legendary. However, it is possible. So, Polarium, make my dreams come true. Pepsi, make my dreams come true. RNGesus, make my dreams come true. And let's get pulling. Something cool. That is a FOD bar. Not particularly exciting. He is one of the few dwarves with decreased defense, so he's useful in faction wars. He could be useful on a couple other floors. This is not a great skill. He's overall just an okay champion. He does have a bit of a turn meter, not a turn meter steal, but a buff steal and a stun here. He's okay. He's not great. I've never been super impressed with him, but you know what? He could be useful in a room. Whoop, there's a legendary, and that is a Corrado. Oh. Well, the good news is I do have Yumiko on this account. The bad news is I already have at least one Corrado. So that is very, very not exciting to be pulling on this account, really. So what does Corrado do? And to be fair, Corrado is actually not bad. Corrado does decent damage. He's got an A1 3-hit weaken. He's got a attacks one enemy stun debuff for 2 turns, grants an extra turn, and resets the cooldown of this skill if Yumiko is on the same team and this skill kills an enemy. So not only does he stun somebody, and he just hits reasonably hard, but if he kills somebody instead and he's got Yumiko, it resets and he takes another turn. So that's actually pretty powerful. Finally, he has a block active skills AoE that's also pretty decent as far as damage dealing. 80% chance of placing the skill, bookable to 100%, cannot be resisted if Yumiko is on the same team. So if you've got a Yumiko, you could build him with Yumiko, and you would have a pretty formidable arena team that with block active skills. I'm actually a little surprised I haven't seen him a little more often, because block active skills is one of the few ways to shut down mythicals. Finally, he does have this passive here. Damage inflicted by this champion cannot be decreased by enemy passive skills or masteries, except for passive skills of bosses. And damage inflicted by this champion cannot be increased by champion masteries or ally passive skills, except for attacking bosses. So basically, if he has a mastery that just simply adds damage, or if the enemy has a mastery that simply reduces damage, it doesn't work. So he ignores Duchess's skills. He can one-shot a Rhodos, for example. He basically, he plays a lot like Narcissus with this passive, except for it doesn't help him on his end either. But you can still use Helm Smasher, because Helm Smasher is ignore defense, not a flat damage boost. But some of the other things that do damage boosts don't help him as much. It makes building his masteries a little weird. But overall, he's actually got a decent kit. He's a decent champion. I don't need him because I already got one. You know, crit rate 20% in all battles, not bad. I always feel it's difficult to use crit rate auras, because if you build them to use the crit rate aura and then you don't use that aura for some reason, oftentimes because you have a speed aura or something like that, then you have a champion that doesn't have the right crit rate. So I generally don't like using these crit rates. But anyway, we have 6 more shards to pull. Hopefully we can get a second legendary. Now I have a 20x times to get Teox. Let's get something cool. Come on, Pepsi. Don't let me down. That is Ursine Ice Crusher. He is not particularly exciting. He's the worst of the 2 bears. That is a Seneschal. I know a lot of people really like Seneschal. I've not been super impressed with him, but he literally, I guess you can use this skill here to put the counterattack up, and then he can basically veil a single champion to take them out of a fight. So for manualing faction wars, he could guess be pretty good because of this skill. I'm not a huge fan, though. I think overall his utility is very limited. Nagoyo, decent damage dealer. I'd personally rather build Corrado than Nagoyo for damage, but again, epic versus legendary. Great for dealing damage in faction wars. Could be a nuker for an early game account. Arwid Quivergrass, not particularly exciting. Come on, let's get another legendary. There's a legendary. There's a... Ooh. Okay. And then another champion that is very good that I don't really need on this account, but Roshkar the Tower is absolutely amazing. He is one of the few 2-turn block damage champions on a 4-turn cooldown. If I was still using the Helikath team for the Iron Twins, I would probably build Roshkar up just to speed that up, because he speeds that up over Helikath by about a minute and allows you to run at much slower speeds. He actually can do some okay damage. He does have the block active skills here on the single target, and then he hits okay on the A1. Does a decent amount of damage, fairly easy to build because he doesn't need a lot of accuracy, although again, if you're landing these, I guess you do need some accuracy. Just kind of an old school okay champion at this point in time. For an early game account, this could be a clan boss breaker. For my account, he's probably going in the vault, and that's unfortunate. But you know what? We got 2 legendaries on this. That is actually pretty cool. You know, maybe my luck's turning around a little bit. Again, these have not been bad legendaries. They've just been not great for my account. Let's see if we can get one last legendary on this final shard. That's a legendary. Oh, Errol. Oh. Now, Errol's been buffed, and I know there are people that love Errol. I still am not thrilled with Errol. I think he's okay. That said, on an early game account, for progression account, for somebody that needs damage dealers, he does damage now. He has a AoE here. That's a single target still. This is now an AoE. His multipliers are actually pretty decent. He does decent damage. As a force damage dealer, he can be very useful in some situations. He does struggle a little against things like Duchesses or some of the other spirit support champions that kind of exist. But he's just overall, and you got to ignore defense on this one here. You got an extra turn if somebody killed and an increased chance of critical hit. The problem with this increased chance of critical hit, again, it's on that skill. It's on that skill too. And it's on this skill. Okay. So Errol's actually a little bit easier to build. That may be the part of the buff that they finally did with him. So Errol, you could actually build with 70% crit rate, making him significantly easier to put in crit damage gloves, particularly on an early game account. Errol could be very, very good for you. On this account, I've got no problem hitting 100% crit rates. On him, obviously, I'd probably go 70%, but I'm not seeing a situation where I really, really need another damage dealer, particularly a force damage dealer. I mean, he's got this as a 4-turn to 3-turn cooldown. This is a 4-turn to 3-turn cooldown. Maybe for Centranos, if I don't have to book him, I could certainly build him for some stuff. So, well, I got 3 legendaries, and, I'm kind of mixed about it. They were not great legendaries, but 3 legendaries out of 8 is definitely turning around my fortunes a little bit. So, hopefully, the Faction Guardians will help me a little bit. Hopefully, your luck has been a little bit better. Maybe you actually got that Teox you've been looking for. And hopefully the next time you get a legendary, it's somebody you actually want. So until the next video, I appreciate you guys hanging out. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stick around here for all kinds of fun content. I've got some fun collabs coming up. I love talking with people. I love doing guides. I love doing videos for you guys and sharing my joy and sharing my pain in Raid. So until the next video, I'm Bront CatHerder.